Is the Samsung Galaxy A10s worth buying in 2020? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A10s in 2020. In this video, we're going to go over everything that you need to know about the phone and also have a discussion on whether or not this phone is still relevant. Now, I actually covered this phone in great detail here on the channel when it was first launched back in September of 2019, so definitely check out all the various videos that I already have on the channel here about this phone. But this has actually been a very interesting and remarkable A-series device from Samsung. Right now, you can pick up the phone for around $140, and definitely take a look at the link in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing. Essentially, this phone has been a huge success all around the world, but here is the box that it does come in. I'm not sure what happened to this box. I actually bought this phone from Tech Daily, so ask him why the box is all messed up at the top. But here is the A10s. You can see the phone is right there on the front of the box. We'll open this up and take a look at what's inside. First thing we have here is this packet. Let's see what all we get in the packet itself. But basically, I covered the phone in the fall of last year, and then I ended up selling the phone, and then I rebought it because this phone actually ended up being way more popular than I was expecting. So we have a couple of different things included here. We do have a quick start guide in English, and we also have a warranty card. Now, also in the box is the phone itself. We're gonna put that off to the side for a second. We do get a US wall adapter included, so just know that you do get this. And we have a micro USB cable for charging and data transfer. So unfortunately, this phone is micro USB, and we have a SIM card removal tool. But here is the Samsung Galaxy A10s itself. Now, the device features a 6.2-inch display. The display itself features PLS TFT technology. Now, I personally think it looks very bright and vibrant. I'm definitely a big fan of how this display looks. Of course, it doesn't look quite as good as an AMOLED display would look, like what we get with the Galaxy A20, for example, but I still think it does look very good. The display is 720p. We're getting a PPI of 271. We're getting a 19:9 aspect ratio, and we're getting an 80.7% screen to body ratio. So at the top of the phone, we do have a water drop notch, and in that notch is an 8 megapixel front facing camera. Then at the bottom of the device, we have a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, but overall, I think it's a nice looking handset. Now, there's no wireless charging with this device, but we do get a fingerprint sensor on the back, and that's something that we don't get with either the A10 or A10e. So if you want to get a device in the A10 series with a fingerprint sensor on the back, then the A10s is your only choice. But let's give this a try. And that was a very fast fingerprint sensor response time. Let's try that out again. Yeah, very fast. So that's great that we're getting a good fingerprint sensor here. You can also use Face Unlock with the phone as well, so that is another option. Now, also on the back is a dual camera setup. So we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, and we're getting a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera. So here's how things look in the camera app. You can see there I am right there. You definitely have the ability to take some really clear selfies with the phone. I am gonna have to turn off beauty mode though. I don't know why they have this on by default. Literally makes no sense at all. Do I even have the ability to turn it off? I don't think so actually. Oh, there we go. Wait a minute, now it's off. Okay, so beauty mode is off. Here's how things really look through the front-facing camera. We'll flip around to the rear camera, and you can see that things are still decently clear here. There's also a zoomed in mode as well, which is pretty sweet. But in general, you will be able to take good looking photos and videos with the device. And it is nice that we are getting live focus portrait mode with both the front and rear cameras. That is something that you don't get with the A10e, for example. Now, the device features 3 gigabytes of RAM and features the MediaTek Helio P22 processor. So this is one of the few A-series phones to come out in 2019 that does feature a MediaTek processor. But overall, I've been very pleased with the performance. Now, I did install a variety of my favorite apps here on the device, and I will continue to use those, and potentially if you want, I can make a follow-up video to this video. Definitely let me know what you need. But I did run a benchmark test with the device, and let me show you the score from that. So I got an overall score of 87349. So a pretty decent score there, definitely a little bit on the lower end of things. So this phone is really for someone that doesn't spend a lot of time on social media or browsing the web or any sort of demanding task. Really, if you're someone that mainly uses your phone for phone calls, text messages, and occasional social media use, then it certainly will get the job done. I think one of my favorite things about this phone definitely has to be the cameras. Now, like I mentioned before, I have already reviewed this phone. I have the review already on my channel from back in the fall. Really, the only difference here is that the phone does now have Android 10. So it has Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.0 skin. So it is nice that Samsung has managed to update this phone to a newer variant of Android. So I'm certainly a big fan of that. Now with the phone, of course, we are getting 1080p video recording and we're getting a beefy 4,000 milliamp hour internal battery. So I feel like with the A10s, Samsung really did address many of the shortcomings with the A10 and A10e, and in general, this phone is better than those two phones. And in addition to that, it's also available at a very affordable price tag. So I feel like the A10s is really kind of a hidden secret. A lot of people don't really know about this device because you hear a lot more about the A10 and A10e. But this phone really is something that you shouldn't look past. Now, taking a closer look at the hardware here, like I mentioned before, the phone has a very good looking display, which is pretty consistent with pretty much every Samsung A series phone that's come out so far. Samsung really does have some of the best display technology out there because they're able to provide such good looking displays on very inexpensive phones. Now, I don't personally mind having a water drop notch. I know that in 2020, that isn't really something that people are too into. That's kind of more of a 2018, 2019 design trend. And same thing with the thicker bottom bezel. But still, in general, you're getting a large display with the phone, and I am definitely happy with that. Now, the phone does feature an all-plastic build, minus the front, of course. Now, on the left side of the device, we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. We have the volume up and volume down. Then on the right of the phone, we have the power button. Then on the top, we have the noise-canceling microphone. And then on the bottom, we have the speaker. We have the micro USB port. We have the microphone. And we have the 3.5mm headphone jack. I'm definitely a big fan of this color here on the back of the phone. I also thought it's kind of interesting how large the fingerprint sensor is. It seems to be a little bit bigger than typical A-series fingerprint sensors that are on the rear of the phones, but that's a good thing overall. And then of course we are getting the dual camera setup here, so definitely out of all the various, so definitely compared to the A10 and A10e, the A10s certainly is the best device for taking photos and videos. So in conclusion, is the Samsung Galaxy A10s worth buying in 2020? I definitely think it is still a decent option, and mainly because you are getting good features such as a depth sensing camera, a fingerprint sensor on the back, you're getting a good looking display, you're getting a beefy battery, and you're getting Android 10 with One UI 2.0, and this phone can be picked up for a very affordable price. So unlike the A10 and A10e, I think the A10s is certainly a device that you should still consider. Now, I will be putting this phone up against the Galaxy A11, which is the successor to this phone, so that will definitely be very interesting to see how this phone compares to that phone, so definitely be on the lookout for that future video. But also let me know if there's any other content you'd like me to make about the A10s, as I'm definitely willing to do that. But I hope you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.